Thank you for being here with us today. This is our third day of Meet Our Powerful Partners, and we are sponsoring or featuring our partnership with Vish this morning. So just to introduce them, we're going to start with Tim. We have Tim Howard, who is the CEO of Vish. So good morning, Tim.
Good morning. How are you?
Very
Sorry,
good.
I was a little tongue-tied. I'm the CIO of Vish, so slightly different title.
Okay.
I'm the Chief Innovation Officer and the person who came up with Vish. My background is from many years in the industry. I started off as a hairdresser, then salon owner. I worked for a product company as an educator, and just problems that I faced in my salon when I was out in the field working, educating other hairdressers and salon owners. Everybody was having the same problem, which at first was really focused around waste, but we know that it's grown into so much more. And we steered Vish into doing way more than just waste. It's just generally making salons more profitable and having better insight into how your color bar is being run with data driven so that you can make impact decisions about how to change and make positive changes to your salon.
So you have a really full understanding of the industry and your product and the needs and the challenges. Most of the best products came from a problem that you were actually having, how you solved it, and you expanded it. And that's exactly what you did. And I love that. And so we also have Cindy, who is a super power user of both Rosy and Vish. And so we wanted to have her come on and join us. So good morning, Cindy. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Good morning, Lori, Tim. Good to see you both.
See you.
Yeah, both of those systems I credit with the reason we're still here. I purchased my salon the year that COVID came about, which is at the end of 2019, and we were a year in, and of course we had the shutdown. And had I not been connected with a group of salon owners through the Beauty Business Reset, where I was introduced to both Vish and Rosy, it's undeniably we would not be here. So I give credit to both of your businesses for helping me scale my expenses. And I have a business background. I'm not a salon stylist. I'm an owner only. And so I'm all systems based, I'm metrics based. And so these two systems are the reason that we are who we are today.
I love that. And Cindy, you are in my hometown area, the Metro Detroit area. And so you are in the running.
We are. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked. We are a winner in terms of Best of Detroit Hour Magazine 2023. And when I say winner, we're in the top 5. So in 3 categories: hair salon, lash specialist, and threading. And the exciting part for me is there's never been a Livonia salon in 3 categories. And we had a name change about 2 years ago. So the fact that we were recognized means a lot to us. You can scan the QR code, fill in your info. We're way down at the bottom, so it's much easier to click on health and beauty at the top, and it'll fast forward down. The big news is today is the last day to vote. So we're up against some really big names. Just to be nominated, we're thrilled. If we could win in one category, we'd be over the moon. So thank you for.
Am I allowed to vote even though I'm not in Detroit?
Absolutely. Anywhere. Please do.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Cindy. So it's interesting that you mentioned you're not a salon or you're not a stylist. You're primarily a salon owner, and you bought your business that way because there is, and we kind of talked about this a little bit, there's like that misconception of like, oh, you don't understand us, or oh, you don't understand color, you don't understand what we need because you're not a stylist. But the systems and the tools and things that you use have really helped you to be able to understand and speak their language, right? So
absolutely.
Do you want to share a little bit about how you, and how this relates, but how you work with your team, how you do your monthly coaching sessions with them, your development meetings with them, and how does that work with Vish?
Sure. So one of the biggest things and biggest sell points, if you will, to my team with Vish was the fact that they can better serve their guests by offering to discuss color that they may have done last spring. I keep a record of this. I know that last spring we lightened you up this way, and they can offer a better consultation for their guests as well. They can mix faster. They can have assistants help them mix because the system keeps tracking down to the half a gram, quarter gram. So from an efficiency standpoint, they really enjoy it. The other piece on the coaching perspective is we are big on waste and on recycling. And so I use that kind of as a benefit, a carrot, if you will. And I give them a number. And if they can reach that number in terms of dollars or percentages, then and last year was the first year we did it. We took a 3-day trip and we rented a big house on Lake Michigan. And we spent 3 days and we did team bonding and we did some individual things. We had a dinner catered in. And I said to them, I showed them how much money we saved. I said, this much will go back into the business. This much will go toward things that that will benefit you specifically, because it's because of you that we have earned this money. So that's how we use it in that regard. The other thing is it helps me not miss on inventory, which was a big one for me. There's nothing worse than a stylist texting you at 9 a.m. saying, I'm out of 10T and I've got a client at 11 o'clock. And why are we out? So the inventory part of Vish ensures that I don't run out, and I can be smarter because I then don't order things that are just in or that are trending that my stylists don't use. So it has been a big part of how we manage inventory. And again, I can have anyone help me with inventory because the Vish numbers, they don't lie. They're right there. So all they need to do is look at how many we need. And if we're down, they order it. They just run the report.
Can I ask you, Cindy, what was your inventory process before using Vish? Did you count tabs, bottles, that type of stuff?
Yeah. I am a little bit of a numbers guru. So I did have it in an Excel spreadsheet, and I needed to have a minimum. And then if I was low, I'd have to order more, but it was by hand. And I was the only one who could do it. Nobody wanted the risk or the opportunity. Nobody wanted the job. It was manual and it took a lot of time. And
how long does it take you now?
Oh, minutes. I will spot check it probably once a month. And it takes a little longer, but I run a report and I double check it at less than 10 minutes. And it used to take, oh my gosh, hour and a half to 2 hours weekly. Yeah.
Great.
Big time savings. And it doesn't have to be me that does it. That's the other thing. I can assign that task because it's so easy to do now, and I can work on other high value projects for the salon.
You said a couple other things that I want to revisit just a little bit. When talking about your coaching with them and how you can kind of pull some reports, that's a lot of transparency also, right? So that's awesome because you're showing them and they're aware of it and they know exactly what they're using. But can we go even back just a little bit further to when you first brought on Vish, how did you introduce this to your team and get them in that? Because that's creating a new habit to use the service, right? How did you do that? And how did you get them comfortable with using it that now it's just come second nature?
Sure. So it's funny. I got a lot of help from Tim's team because his team, or at least the team he assigned to me, were stylists. And so they were able to help me talk the talk because not being from the salon background, I was only focused on the numbers, and they coached me pretty strongly on what things to appeal, what ways to appeal to my stylists. But I would probably say that the biggest one for me was that I ensured for them that their consultation could be more specific and they could do more customizable services, and their guests would feel more personal. It's our salon mantra. We want everyone to feel personalized and feel like their appointment is geared just toward them, so they can speak very specifically about color and how much to use. For example, on my hair versus your hair, Lori, or Tim, it would be a totally different conversation. And they enjoyed that part. The other part is understanding efficiencies in terms of if they were running behind and they needed to have someone mix more, anybody could run back there and do it for them, which allowed them to stay with their guest. And it allowed them to run on time. And as you know, when we came back from COVID, we had stylists were making 25%. They were already down 25% because we were closed for 3 months. This allowed them to be more efficient, and it allowed them to spend more time with their guests. They need to reestablish their relationship. And so it made a big difference there as well.
So there's a true benefit to them to be using this. And then it helps save and track their color formulas that they're using also, so they don't have to write anything down. And we know for anybody that's not using Vish, there's a full support team of people that know and understand color that can help you, especially if you don't come from, a salon background, that they can help you and coach you and guide you to using it successfully, rather than this is not a service or product that they're going to just drop into your salon and let you run with, right? They're going to help you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Everybody is reachable. I mean, from Joshua to Tim. I mean, if I can't, and I shouldn't say if I can't get somebody, I get a response from Kristen, wham, bam, immediately. And if I don't answer her response, then she'll text me and say, hey, I answered your question. I want to make sure you got it. So
good job, Kristen.
The
response that really is.
Yeah, the response that we get has helped me tremendously to be able to coach my team.
That's great.
Funny, since the early days of Vish, I still regularly teach hair color 101 to everybody in Vish. So whether you're an engineer or a salesperson or somebody in support, you understand the basic fundamentals of how to mix hair color.
Yeah,
big part of what we do, of course.
That's good. So Vish and Rosy together, I just want to touch base on how this works a little bit, because Rosy was a standalone company and Vish is a standalone company too. But when we came together in a partnership, we were able to, at least for Rosy, able to really see the value in this and being able to help our Rosy customers streamline and make things a little bit more efficient, and the process is easier, and just all of those things that you were just mentioning, Cindy, of how this can help you in your salon. And so that is one of the reasons we wanted to, join in this partnership also. And so some of the things, because you could absolutely use Vish by itself, right? But it's just a little bit more powerful when you can use them together, meaning that your appointments that you have in Rosy get shot back to your iPad that's in your back room or your color bar or wherever you're looking at, right? So it's easier for you to find those appointments. And then when you're mixing and putting in your formulas, those formulas save to your Rosy client profile cards. So again, you're not manually typing in or writing down those formulas. That information is shared between our two systems. Do you find that makes it a little bit easier for your team to use both services?
Yeah, absolutely. And I may have mentioned this at the beginning, but for them to then talk about changes of the season or changes in color, they can reference, well, last spring we did this. Is that something you want to work toward this year? Or do you want to do a little different? Or if a client comes in and says, 3 times ago, do you remember when you did my hair? I thought I like that color better than I do this. It's hard to do that. So with the Rosy and Vish partnership, it allows the front desk to also put notes in there and say, hey, client called, she wants her color to be similar to 3 times ago. The stylist can find it very easily. And in addition, I would say there's some transparency there, so they know that we are being honest about what we use. They know we're in Michigan, so a lot of clients that we're called snowbirds, they go down to the South for 3 months. I will give them their specific formulas to give to their stylist in a warmer state, and I can get it right down to the half gram, and they are forever grateful. And because of the transparency, it bonds us more closely with our clients. And then there's transparency in extra product charges, because someone with longer, thicker hair sees right down to the gram that they're being charged appropriately, as opposed to just, we're going to add a $50 service charge on because you take longer and we use more product. It's very specific.
Mm-hmm.
And can I just speak on that for 1 second? One of the real benefits that I love about having a partnership with Rosy is, and I'm a hairdresser, so I know it's not malicious, but missed services. So sometimes somebody comes in and they book something, like let's say they book a half head highlight, but then they end up getting extra toner and an extra treatment. Hairdressers are busy. We don't always remember to update to the front desk, whether that's through Rosy. But if they mix the services in Vish, we're able to show that to the front desk team, so that the customer is charged, the salon is charging what they should, and the hairdresser gets commission on all the work they do, and they're not missing it. I mean, I think personally myself, I probably gave away 5 to 10 toners a week just because I was so busy and not organized when it's at checkout time at least. So that's one of the.
And when you say Vish shows it, I just want to be clear for everybody, it's wireless. We literally click a button and from the back iPad, it pops up on our screen. So it's seamless.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that. Awesome. Tim, can you give us any examples of like salon, because change is hard, and especially right now, there's so much change, but is there any salons or anybody that you've worked with that maybe was a little resistant to change or bringing something in, and that you've been able to show like extreme benefits? Like obviously Cindy's this perfect example too of how she's made it through COVID because of using these systems. Like, what would you say to a salon owner who is like maybe on the fence or not really sure, or doesn't really think that they would need a service like Vish?
Well, I mean, I think one of the best comparisons that I can use is when I entered the salon business. So I think I opened my first salon in 1996. And at that time, we were doing paper appointment books. And I introduced the digital appointment book to my team, and it took about 6 months, and they were, not loving it, and there was full of errors. We're in, and now Rosy, I mean, think of all the things Rosy does now to what it did 15 years ago, or however long ago, is the color bar's changed. And you can't afford, especially now with the cost of everything going up, with inflation, with the industry itself changing, you have to watch every penny, and you have to make sure every penny is accounted for and people are charged appropriately. So it really adds, by adding that technology to the color bar, it's going to happen. The color bar will be fully digital at one point. So it's just how early you want to adopt it. But also just gaining that insight into your business. It's been almost impossible to keep track of your color inventory and your color, and is everyone being charged properly without physically standing at the color bar watching what your team mix. So it gives you that opportunity to, whether you're a 2-chair independent, whether you're a multi-location, it just gives you that control and power so that you can monitor everything. You can make sure everything is being done properly and accurately, put money back into your team and into your salon, and coach people so that they are the best that they can be. And you really can't do that without, a powerful piece of technology assisting in all the behind the scenes work. So if you're, on the fence about it, it really just depends on what your goals are. So if you're a salon that's environmentally conscious, or it's just financially conservative and want to make sure that you're not wasting, then that's one reason. If you're not capturing all the service revenue that you should, that's another reason. And then the inventory, of course, being another. But I mean, I could go on about this topic forever, but I'll let you move on to the next.
Well, I would say, just touching on what you just said, Cindy, you mentioned taking your team on this retreat, right, to Lake Michigan. You guys did. Yeah. You're getting that savings both from they're adding in any of those missed services, like Tim was saying, onto their tickets, right? So that's added revenue for you. And then you're also getting savings by probably not wasting and using so much color, because you're mixing appropriately. So the savings in the revenue side of it is coming from multiple different places. When you share that with your team, do they feel, because people, you could do whatever you want with it. Some salon owners might keep it. They might put it back in maintenance of the salon. You can do whatever you want, but you choose to share that with your team. And I think that's huge, especially right now in a time where people are hanging on to retention and their teams are, going all over the place. That really shows your investment to your people and your team and how you can take care of them. Do they acknowledge that? Do you share that with them? Do they feel that from you? Like, is that a benefit to them?
Yes, I really believe it is. And I think that one of the biggest things about it is they feel more invested in the salon as a business. I have noticed since I have shared it with them, and they have been directly benefiting in a couple of ways. You mentioned, sharing some of the savings with them in their paycheck, as well as the vacation that we took, or the trip that we took. They are more committed to other things. So I'm noticing that it's spilling over into their feeling compelled to do more things to keep the business going. Hey, is there anything I can do? They help each other's clients out, which is very interesting. We recently had a stylist go on a medical for 6 weeks. Well, it was very easy for us to care for her guests because we had all of her services in Vish, and we let them know. We made it very seamless for them. We said, look, we have a very sophisticated service. And I do give new clients tours of the salon, and I show them our color room, and I show them the way Vish is set up and how it connects to Rosy, and they're fascinated. But getting back to caring for our stylist clients, it was seamless. They got their same color, they got their same highlights. Other than missing their stylist, their time with us, they felt well cared for, and it strengthened the team bond that stylists can help each other and do it in a way that the end result is the client still feels well cared for. So our team bonding, I think, has gone up as a result of, there's a lot of spillage, right? I shouldn't use that word. We've been talking about color, but caring for each other and taking care of each other has really grown as a result of them seeing the money we can save and what we do with it. It has made them more conscious on a lot of other levels.
Yeah. And Cindy, just to clarify, your salon business is a commission-based salon?
We are a commission-based salon, okay. Yes.
And then Tim, you mentioned that Vish would be great for, independent or multi-location franchise or whatnot, but is it also good for booth rental salons or just commission-based? Like, is there a target that would be best for Vish?
No, I mean, we work with everybody. We're coming up with some new technology this year that will be more geared towards the independent hairdresser, but and that's only because the upfront. So how it works currently is we have an iPad and a sensitive Bluetooth scale on your color bar. So, it's anybody can use it. The Vish pays for itself multiple times over. So whether you're, a single person in there or multi, whether you're team-based pay, whether you're commission, there is customizable parts of Vish that will really fit your business. But one of the biggest takeaways, and I'll just clarify what Cindy's talking about, is that we set thresholds. Now, we have two different ways we do it. One way is that we have parts and labor. So, the service is $100 plus whatever colors used at a markup. But what Cindy's referencing is product allowances. So we say, look, for your new growth or your retouch or your single process, you allow as a salon this much color. And if you go over it, well, then there's an additional charge that gets charged to the customer. That money is then decided upon the salon owner what they want to do with it. Typically, that would be lost, or it's a voluntary extra bowl charge or extra service charge, which we know is inconsistent. But it's funny because, talking about salons who are hesitant to implement that in the beginning because they're not sure how the guest is going to react. But in fact, it's better for the guest, and they're the ones who push back the least. It tends to be the hairdressers because we know we don't always like to charge. But by customizing the bill to the client, and you can show them through the digital ticket that we have on the front desk, that not only is the color customized, but so is the bill. So if you're thinking about raising your prices, if you're thinking about, if your manufacturer has just raised the price of color, that gets changed right away, so that you're collecting that back as it happens. So there's just a level of transparency, and what Cindy's saying about being a team effort, that everybody's on the same page, everybody's charging what they should at the same rate. One person's not overcharging or undercharging. And then when you're sharing clients, it really helps to aid that as well. So hopefully that answered your question. I know I deviated a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Tim, I was going to add one other thing. We're in tax season, and these numbers help me a ton with my accountant.
Yeah.
Because I can really see cost of goods used for supplies versus cost of goods for
because
retail.
It's sometimes hard to get that from the distributor, right? It's really hard to get even the separation of professional products versus retail products, right? It takes a lot of work, and just knowing to the penny what you spent in a time period is really beneficial. So can I just ask you a couple questions? Because that compensation to the hairdresser, so you compensate them on the savings and the extra revenue. What were you doing before? Would it be a voluntary, I'm going to charge for an extra toner? Did it get missed a lot?
It got missed a lot. There were often times where, well, I'd say 90% of the time as an owner, I ate it.
Right.
And which means their ticket was lower, their commission was lower, their tip was lower.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
the bill was lower. So I ate it. If we did add it, it was very inconsistent. And then you are having to explain to a guest, why was my ticket $100 this time and it was 120 last time?
And in their mind, they're getting the same service, right? But they don't know price fluctuates.
Yeah. So it allows us to be very clear and explain the different level of services. And if you wait 6 months, and as we mentioned, coming back from COVID, people they thought they were getting a root touch up. That was what they would say. Well, guess what? 6 inches is not a root touch up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good point, though, about even how it affects their tip, and that does affect their overall, revenue that they're bringing in as a service provider too, because the amount that the client's paying is what they're going to tip off of. So, really good point.
Absolutely, and they deserve it, and that's what I tell them. You are worth it. You deserve this. You should not at all feel guilty about charging for your craft. You're good at this, so you deserve it.
Well, I mean, like I said, I was a hairdresser before, and it's a difficult job, right? It's physically difficult, and we all need to be charging what we're worth. Like I now work in this sort of position where I'm sitting down all day, and this isn't as hard a job as it's told. So my hat's off to hairdressers, and I just think that what I noticed about my team was the more I could take away the business side for them and let them just be creative and automate as much, or at least assist them with the billing, especially, made their lives so much better.
Absolutely. And seeing the savings, I'll sometimes, like January, February, March, as I mentioned, are slower for us because we're a snowbird, people leave. It gives me the opportunity to do something special for them. So we brought in breakfast the other day because I know they're slow. I know that their tips are hurting. It's right after Christmas. They're paying off bills, but I knew how much I had already saved in color. So I'll do a little thing here or there for them. And they know that they're appreciated, and they know that, the work that they're doing and taking the time to do this does come right back to them, because they do know that it gets spent on them in some degree or another, and they earn it in tips as well as commission.
Cindy, can I ask you, because you're not behind the chair, a lot of the office work that you do, so a lot of the reports you get from Rosie, a lot of the reports you get from Vish, does that give you the ability to be away from the salon a little bit more than it did beforehand?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And my husband's very grateful because I can work we have a condo in Florida that we bought in the 90s. Yeah. So speaking of snowbirds, he's down there. He's been down there 6 weeks, but I can go down for a week, and I can coach from Florida. From anywhere, really. I run my reports. I talk to people. I check all of my tickets at the end of the week. And I check them again before I run payroll, just to be sure we didn't have any open tickets, so that everyone gets credit. I'm doing this from home right now because I've already checked the schedule. I already noticed we had a couple of incorrect appointments booked incorrectly. So I already sent a note to the front desk, asked them to double check and say, hey, is this on purpose done this way, or did we maybe miss something? So having the technology, and again, being in the salon 100% of the time, I couldn't be near as efficient because, people want to talk to you. You want to be there for your stylist. So I typically spend 3 to 4 hours a day at home on my computer doing what I do behind the scenes. And as I mentioned, I was just doing 2023 coaching meetings. I ran a big report from Rosie and a medium report from Vish. And that's what I talked to my stylists with. So I have them, set a goal on higher product savings in terms of dollars, and then of course services and retail through Rosie.
It's a good point that you make, though, Tim, because we talk about work-life balance and providing and burnout of our team because they're behind the chair and standing and doing all that. But like burnout for a salon owner is a real thing also. Yeah. So being able to take care of yourself and putting yourself first, you'll be able to provide better for your team, which is great.
I don't know how owner operators do it. I mean, they must be subhuman. Or, yeah, there's no way.
Yeah. Something suffers though. Like I can speak from experience on that one, that either your home life suffers, or, your inventory is never quite there, or, you're working behind the chair too much. There's only so much time in the day, and there's only so many things you're good at. And that's where technology really does alleviate a lot of that for, I've never been the most organized person. So, I really rely on the technology that I use to keep me organized and keep me on top of things.
Absolutely.
So Cindy, if they're, from your perspective and as a salon owner and somebody that's using, if there's a salon owner that maybe thinks they don't need anything like this, or they have all of it figured out, or they wouldn't know where to start, what would be your advice for a salon owner?
Well, they can always call me, but other than that, I give it a shot. I mean, talk to the support team at both Rosy and at Vish. Let them tell you how it works together. And I was skeptical. Tim will tell you, I was not an easy sell, because I don't like to be sold. I don't like to be convinced. I need to figure it out for myself. And I was a tough sell. And I wasn't going to talk to just anybody. It was him or Joshua, and I was tough. But they kept coaching me along. They kept saying this will benefit you. I don't know that the words "I promise" came out, but I know it was, if you are not happy and if this doesn't work for you, we will make it right. And having what I would call, a money back guarantee sounds kind of funny, but having made a big difference. With Rosy, oh God, poor Riel and Gary. I text and call and ask them questions all the time about, how do I run a better report? How do I do this? And, I have not been the easiest, because I dig deep into how the processes work, and I will ask a question and I want to know why. Don't just give me the answer. I want to know why. And they have been great. So to summarize, I would say, give both of these companies a chance to share with you how they can help your business, because there's no harm, no foul. And I can see the numbers. I know what it's doing for me. And as you both know, I am a numbers person. I have a business background. I check numbers 6 ways from Sunday, and numbers don't lie.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I agree. The technology companies like Rosy and Vish and others that are around us are not going anywhere. And we're just continuing to grow. And our purpose is to be there for you in our industry, and the salon owner, to help you in your business and run more efficiently. Right. So we are here for you and for salons, and we want to put processes in place that help you be able to take time for yourself or make things easier for your team. And that's what I love about our partnership with Vish, and how we both effectively run and are able to provide that for our salon owners. So I do have the QR code that's up here. So if there is anybody that's watching that is interested to get any more information, just have a meeting, want to ask some questions, just want to get connected with somebody from Vish, you can scan the QR code just to find out a little bit more information on it and how it might benefit your business. Tim, is there anything, last final words or anything that you'd like to share?
Sure. So thank you so much to the both of you for having me, Cindy. It's always a pleasure, and I'm really happy we had all this time to work together. And our support department are great, and we strive to provide the same level of service that you provide in salons. And I was really happy to hear you bring up Kirsten, because she's dynamite. But for those who are interested, not just in booking a demo, of course, we want you to book a demo, see our product in action, but there's a lot of information on our website. We just did a data dive for 2022, so a lot of information about the color business. We are in a unique position where, we're in so many salons collecting so much data around the color bar, and we share that back out. So there's a ton of white papers that you can look at on our website, really kind of identify some of the things that you think, that's missing, or that you don't have in your salon around the color bar, or information that is. Read some of the white papers, get a good understanding. It takes time to implement any new process, any new software. So nothing's a slam dunk. It always takes, coaching for yourself, like Cindy was saying, coaching your team, and keep working away to achieve all the milestones and goals that are available. Definitely happy to have that partnership with Rosie, and and building that even better, right? So our goal, we're coming up with a new app this year, is to make everything more seamless, more streamlined, to take away all that heavy lifting that your hairdressers do, and make reporting and keeping track of your color bar easier for you as a salon owner. So again, I appreciate this opportunity today, and I'm really excited about this partnership with Rosie.
Thanks, Tim. All right, and I'm just going to wrap up with sort of one of the first things that you said, Cindy, that this all came to fruition for you through the Beauty Business Reset. And our friend Derek Hull with Salon Ninja is going to be our day 4 of Powerful Partners tomorrow. So I will have him on here at 11 a.m. Eastern, and we're going to be talking about the services and things that he offers through Salon Ninja and that partnership. And also, you mentioned the environmental effects of using Vish and saving your color and putting it back into the environment. And we're going to have our partners with Green Circle on Friday morning. So come back and join us at 11 Eastern tomorrow and 10 a.m. Eastern on Friday to hear from both of those other partners. So thank you, Cindy and Tim, for being here this morning and sharing all of your feedback and your thoughts and your experience, Cindy.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. I was thrilled that I was asked to do this. And get on and vote for us so we can come back next year and tell you that we won.
Absolutely.
Pop that back on there for you. Awesome. Great. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you. Take care.